One time for the one time. Welcome back to Crystal Clear.
He said it! He said it!
I'm Ultrich Vox, and Steven Universe is now over 10 years old. Can you believe it? A decade of believing in Steven already. Time is slipping through our delicate fingers at an alarming rate, and there's nothing we can do about it. So cool. I definitely won't have an existential crisis about this later. No matter what anyone says, I'll always have a soft spot for Steven Universe. The show undoubtedly changed my life in ways I could never imagine, and I'm really grateful for that. And I know I'm not the only one out there whose heart has been sincerely touched by the show. If you have any good moments related to the series that you want to share, please leave them in the comments. But let me cut to the chase. The title's not clickbait. Rebecca Sugar wants to bring back Steven Universe, and she needs your help. Yes, you. Rebecca's returned to the public eye in recent months with a TikTok account where they share a behind-the-scenes look at not just Steven Universe, but also their work on Adventure Time. They dropped a new EP titled Spiral Bound that's 13 minutes full of bangers, but in like a cozy coffee shop way, you know? And the cherry on top, she had an interview with Michaela Z at Variety, centered around the 10th anniversary of the series, where she makes it abundantly clear that it's time for us to return to Beach City. The interview's a pretty insightful read, covering things like the casting process, working with Estelle, and some cut content. Though I do think a lot of the tidbits in here you'll already know if you listened to the Steven Universe podcast back in the day, like the scrapped off color split in shirt, or the original plans for Garnet's wedding. But if you never knew about any of those, or if you wanted to hear Rebecca's up-to-date thoughts about them, the link to the interview will be in the description. But what we want to focus on in this video is the very end of the interview, where Michaela asked the big question that's on every reader's mind. It's been 3 years since the epilogue series Steven Universe Future ended, and you've recently worked on Fiona and Cake, which is a spin-off of Adventure Time. Will there ever be a Steven Universe revival or spin-off? I would really appreciate it if everyone who would be interested in something like that would make a ton of noise and make it really known, because I would be thrilled to explore that. I think in this current media landscape, if there's a huge amount of public demand, then that is something that becomes impossible to ignore. I love these characters and I love this world, and I would love to return to it. And I hope, if everyone else feels the same as I do, I may have an opportunity to do something like that. What would you like to explore in a Steven Universe revival? I know these characters in this world very well, and there's so many interesting things in store for them and aspects of their personality that they're still grappling with that I'm interested in exploring. It's not an easy answer, because there's so much, and I'm also so grateful to the Steven Universe team, the crew that I worked with for 8 years on the show. Thanks to them, these characters are so incredibly rich, and this world is so beautifully defined. Even just our rules and our lore and the meaning behind why the characters are the way they are is so full that if I had an opportunity to work with them again, they really take on a life of their own. Aspects of their personality that they're still grappling with. Now, I don't know about you, but this part of Rebecca's answer stood out to me the most, and it highlights why I think a sequel or spin-off will be good for the series. Steven still hasn't unpacked that he's half diamond, what that entails. Pearl may be feeling aimless now that she's done taking care of Steven, which you could argue is her fulfilling her duty to Rose Quartz. Hell, there's even Jasper's whole dilemma of worshipping Pink Diamond, finding out her mortal enemy was Pink Diamond, and getting rejected as Steven's bodyguard once he inadvertently gains her respect. And these are only 3 characters. Don't tell me we don't got anything to work with here. That's also where Fiona and Cake makes a great argument for Steven Universe, because at the end of Adventure Time, Simon may no longer be the Ice King, but his arc was far from over. It was only 5 years later that his arc got a satisfying conclusion through Fiona and Cake. His arc is the through line of the whole damn show. So I have no doubts that the Crewniverse could come back together and deliver something rad that also continues Steven's journey in a meaningful way. And just like Fiona and Cake, they gotta make a sequel TV-14. I'm a big boy now. I like some blood and swearing in me cartoons, you dig? I genuinely think a sequel would do some good for fans who had a weird taste left in their mouth after the end of Future. We all know both the OG Steven Universe and Future have controversial endings, and I think a big reason for that is that both finales feel rushed. Both had limited time to execute pretty ambitious ideas in a pretty short time frame, and as a result, they barely scratched the surface on things we really wanted to see. The end of season 5 needed to be an entire season in its own right, so we could have seen more of Homeworld, new gems, new colonies, a look at what the diamonds actually do on a day-to-day basis, and above all else, a chance to see how Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl react to being on Homeworld, putting all of their self-work to the test. And of course, more time for Steven to try and appease the diamonds and achieve peace, before everything goes horribly wrong and they have a climactic showdown with White Diamond. These things felt expected, yet were kind of just glossed over in the show, because they were only given so many episodes to wrap things up. On the other hand, I think Steven Universe Future needs to be the usual 26 episodes instead of a mere 20, with I Am My Monster becoming a full-blown half-hour special. Steven's corruption arc needed a lot more time, and as someone who loves some action, I was definitely underwhelmed with how it went down. And of course, there are unanswered questions and loose ends, like the origins of the diamonds, the cluster's fate, and what lies next for Steven. Another animated series can finally answer these questions and flesh out the world a bit more. Now, I'm not completely serious when I say this, but my crazy-ass pitch that people either love or hate is that a sequel should kind of lean into the divisive responses people had to change your mind in particular. Like, it doesn't have to be the main plot, but I'd love to see an alien race from a different galaxy pull up and chastise a now 20-something Steven for letting the diamonds off the hook, finding himself in a new conflict revolving around a choice he made when he was just 14 years old. That's just an idea. I think you can make it work, but obviously I want to see what Rebecca's already cooking in her head. So there you have it. If you want to see more Steven Universe in the world, Rebecca herself thinks making noise and showing support is the best way to make it happen. And trust me, I think it's way more likely than you think. The series is still incredibly popular on streaming, its songs have always been a huge part of TikTok for years now, and it's just had a big resurgence on there over the past few months.
This is Black Diamond.
And I think it's one of the few Cartoon Network shows that would have a huge audience if it got the Fiona and Cake treatment. Again, it's crazy it's already been 10 years since the series took off, which means in a few more years it'll be 10 years of this channel, which just makes me feel ancient, but again, I'm grateful for everything the show and channel have given me. I'm thankful for all of you who watched my Steven Universe content back in the day and changed my life for the better. Seriously. But that's enough cheesy sentiments. What would you want to see in a Steven Universe revival? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more Steven Universe videos, give this one a like and subscribe to the channel with notifications on. Thanks for watching, and hey, you look great today. Keep it up. Peace.